is just my life, isn't it? This is just where things are. Well, you know what? Hashtag blame the sneeze. Okay. So, fun fact. I determined that hell was mappable. I did a rough sketch and everything just to get a sense for whether the room configuration and stuff would make sense. But the map that I had started about a minute ago. I sneezed while doing one of the marker lines on it, and well, rip. So, it's okay. I only lost like 10 minutes worth of work, but especially since I determined that it was already mappable. So we're starting with basically tabula rasa here, except for the fact that I know that it's mappable. So on today's agenda, I'm going to be mapping as much as I can of hell. Now, when I say it's mappable, what I really mean is that most of it is. There's one problematic set of rooms, but we'll be getting to those. Okay, I did remember to unmute myself. I'm having one of those days where just the kind of day where like you wind up putting your pants on backwards and you swear you'd forget an arm or something if it wasn't attached to you. We're gonna be very used to this music. But yeah, so hell. So thus far it appears that hell is mappable. Really quickly I'll run you through the logic on that. So we're in room 0 right now. Each of these rooms are numbered for your convenience. So we have room 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then it drops down, and there's a shortcut that comes into 1. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 is the last one I've gotten to. Hey. So 15 rooms in, it appears to be mappable. Except for one set of rooms. So if you fall down in a bunch of these rooms, I'm going to get to one where I know for a fact it's going to drop me into the place that I'm looking for. So, yay. My platforming is the best. And here we're intentionally dropping. If I can remember where the platforms are to drop me. So here, we see we are in hell. This is a different hell than I spent most of the last stream in. So here's the deal with this mapping simulator, as Artie puts it. I have beaten the main game. This is extra credit. This is bonus. This is additional material above and beyond. Doing Hell Temple. The trick with this, though, is that these rooms, these hell rooms, seem to link to clusters of other rooms. So I'm trying to figure out how to represent that on the map still. I don't know whether I'm going to try to have it be linked in the proximity. I also need to figure out where the transitions specifically are between different clusters of rooms. So, for example, is it just, this ring of rooms? And, where does that divide from this ring? And how does that break up into the different hells? So, yeah. Still haven't quite worked out how to do that bit. Part of the trick of it is that actually having access to... So, right now, I'm supposing that hell has... There's no way it's only 20 rooms. My thought is actually that it has probably 40. So, one of the things that we've noted is each of the fields historically has been 20 rooms. So, for example, 20 rooms in Gate of Guidance, in Gate of Illusion, etc. really isn't hell. It lacks demons, rape, and lemon juice. Plenty of demons. The lemon juice is for, applying to my wounds, along with the salt. Hey. Generic caves. So, hell is mappable. In most of it. But these hell rooms, circling back, so the number of rooms that I suspect hell has, I don't think it's going to be 40 numbered rooms. But that's partly because basically the largest area that we have in the game is Twin Labs, which is 40 rooms combined. If we consider, but all the fields, if you consider the front and back together, have 40 fields. If I was doing a bonus area, I'd follow that convention to at least some extent, personally. But I'm expecting there to be probably 40 rooms total. I don't know how many of them are going to be hells. If I had access to maybe one more, I could come up with a clear convention for how to note them. You clearly apply lemons to the eyes so you can see the naked flying gargoyles. Am I doing this game right? You know, there's not enough maternity imagery, but you're almost there. Almost there already. So that's where I'm at on this, is the main chunks of hell I can map. So the numbered room segments are definitely mappable thus far, and I'm based on the structure that's evidenced so far. So we have this sort of leaf-like structure. I imagine that it's probably going to be continuing to do something similar as it continues down. But in terms of trying to figure out, like, in terms of just trying to figure out how to make this, like, work with respect to the hell rooms, it's going to take a little bit of trial and error. So we are going to get to see probably some of my awful platforming today. My apologies in advance. The game that I played most recently, other than a little bit of scoping out about half an hour before stream, the most recent game that I was playing was Dead Cells. And even though that was the other day, my jumps may still be attuned to that. But yeah, we appear to be mappable. So now that we've determined that, we will get to this momentarily. In terms of just touching base on what this week looks like, so we have this today. I'm also planning on mapping, depending on time and how hot it is here, because it's in, if I go by freedom units, it's about 90 something outside, and we only have one AC in this place. And it's like 2 rooms away. I know we only have 3 rooms, it's 2 rooms away. So I don't know if we're going to be able to maintain enough ventilation to continue for more than about 2 hours. So I am going to be, or rather 2 hours more than now, based on the rate at which it's been getting warm. So if we get far enough through hell, I also plan on going through and doing TOG, aka Grand Central Station. I've just gone through and done some of the markering to delineate the larger room structures, since rooms can be multi-frame. Just make Stage leave the room and it'll become cold again. I mean, yes, his #1 export is hot air, but... So yeah. As I noted, though, already continuing with the passionate goat love is the heat of his life. I blame War of Omens and a particular draft deck, but just know that Stage is in fact the bargain bin Welshman and the man who stares at goats. So we're gonna see how long we can sustain things today. On Wednesday, we do La-Mulana, so that's going to be continuing Kitty's misadventures in platforming in Hell Temple. Probably also with a bunch of story time mixed in. But that's partly just because, as we determined last time, Hell Temple can get me salty. And rather than get too just not in a good state, really. We're going to be breaking up with some story time. So that should be fun, and I've got a few stories lined up for that. And then on Friday we have Dead Cells. So, some good stuff. Anywho, let's map hell. Oops. Oh my. So, also, I know that we've talked before about when I'm doing this, having the volume up higher, partly because I'm on pause so much of the time. I don't know, Air Caves, there's a fair number of stories that feature you. That said, I think that the college ones I'm thinking of are honestly mostly from before I met you. But yeah. We've got a good feel going. I'm still salty that I sneezed and markered through the middle of my map that I had started prior to stream. I didn't lose too much progress, but I lost just enough. Partly because it's also one of the things that I joke about, right, is the fact that mathematicians cannot count. Wouldn't it be just my luck to miscount rooms on stream and have to completely redo a map? That's the kind of stuff that would not be unexpected. Just... and Air Caves can back that up. He's known me for long enough. The other thing that I get the impression of is if Hell's 40 rooms, I think that it's gonna wind up needing multiple pages, no matter how I note the Hell rooms. So, good stuff. But yeah. Things have been busy here, but generally pretty good on the whole. How about for y'all? Did everyone have a good weekend? Or at least, yeah. I guess we'll take not terrible. So, let's see. I know this weekend, Stage and I were focusing on resting up some, because things have been really busy, what with trying to figure out all the house prospect stuff, as well as a whole bunch of other things. Figuring out the order of operations on a whole bunch of fiscal aspects. To make sure that just everything's gonna work. Like, and not just like, oh yeah, we can totally afford it, and you know, if I start working full time and Stage gets a raise and all that, no. The goal is to not have it be at all dicey. To have it be something that is very thoroughly sustainable. Funny talking with realtors though, because it's like, yeah, we're approved up to X amount, but honestly, that's more than our upper limit. And yep, MQ, it is Hell Temple mapping, and Air Caves, yep, I roll 20s and I roll 1s. There's not much in between, except the occasional 2 or 19. Yeah, I haven't tripped one. At least. No lethal fumbles. Yeah, we were all set to make an offer on the house that we've been talking about. And then I was like, wait a second, don't we have this one thing that has to get dealt with first? And he's basically like, oh crap. He was literally about to send in the paperwork for the offer. We have one thing that we have to iron out first. Already saying, I mean, I sleep till 3 p.m., stay awake till 6 a.m. every day, so I'm loving the amounts of non-drug fueled fuckery I can see when it's dark for about 12 hours of my time being awake. Why am I not surprised? Nah. Okay. Not screw this up this time. So, as I noted, just really quickly recapping, the numbered rooms are mappable. God, what is the deal with the mayonnaise staged? Like, on the one hand, I kind of want to wait for you to, like, be able to tell this on stream, but, like, what? He's been telling me throughout the day about how, you know, his coworker has, like, a whole bunch of mayo because it fell off the back of a truck. And I don't know. So one of the nice things is that because of all the Hell Temple rooms being their own individual numbers, I'm basically, even though I don't have a map to confirm, I am assuming that each numbered room is going to be its own named room, if I ever get a map. So with that assumption, I get to just mark up all of the, room boundaries. The other thing that's an issue with Hell Temple is the same sort of thing that we ran into with the Shrine of the Mother, in that there are enclosed spaces. So, yeah, I can throw an X through them, but I've got to make sure that I decide on a consistent way to refer to them. But I'm also tempted not to fill them in yet, because it seems like, depending upon how the Hell rooms work out, it might be something where I can stash the Hell rooms there. And I have a bad mark. For some reason, I have not been the steadiest today. Just, my lines have not been fantastic, not been particularly steady. Which, of course, has you going like, why the heck are you streaming? Like, map stuff? Come on. And the answer is because, damn it, I want to. Artelo is, being flipped off by Twitch chat. I love how Twitch is, your message was not sent because you are sending messages too quickly. That's what touch typing does! Fix your damn IRC! But yeah. So, in a moment, we'll be able to actually commence with the rooms themselves. Because, yeah, my lines are a little sloppy today. I'm also in a bit of a hurry. I had nicer lines, and then, you know, everything decided to flip me off. Including my own sinuses. So, hell. There's 300 jars of mayo at work today. Okay, that's when... It's a shame that it's not something that would be appropriate to use for, like, a slip and slide. Otherwise, that sounds like that could be a really fun time. But, no, that's absurd. One of the other things that I'm thinking about is every room has the fiery pillars on the side. So we're also going to do ourselves a little bit of a favor, I think, and make the implicit assumption that it's going to prove true for all the rooms. Or it's not an implicit assumption, but it's an assumption. We're just going to say rooms basically all have the columns, which lets us do some of the pre-formatting like we did with Dimensional Corridor. There we go. That's allocating slightly too much space over here. Let's see. Also, something tells me we are going to get very sick of this music. I'm actually kind of tempted to turn llama music off, which feels bad, man. Oh my god. Talking about mayo giveaways on Twitch, oh my... It's like Steam keys, but hotter. Guys, y'all are silly. So we are in room 0, and room 0 is here. True, he has a music player in his back pocket. We may well do that. And heck, we might even do a variation on song requests. Particularly for the llama vets out there who know some of their favorite songs that are available in the software, in-game. Or... Okay, so... is the whole soundtrack on Spotify, actually. Cause... let me see. Is the whole... let's see. This one's 2015. And here's another site. This is probably stuff that I should have checked prior to... okay. Sweet. We got the Bandcamp page. It also appears, unless I'm much mistaken, the entire thing is on Spotify. So, here's the deal. What we're gonna do, have some fun here. One thing that I'm gonna tell you guys really quickly is, give me a moment. Okay? I want you guys to mute until I give the okay, because I don't want to kill your eardrums. I do not have any music source pre-balanced, so if you just give me a moment. I'm thinking we'll go through Spotify. I have premium, so it's not going to give us ads. So... okay. So starting now. Okay, so the way we're gonna do this is to there's sound settings, yeah? Cool. So settings are sorry, trying to throw things. Where is it on the volume? Okay. So I am glad that we had you guys mute, because that would have been loud. Let me know if I need to turn it up at all. I've got the original soundtrack as it appears on Spotify on shuffle. Also, I can turn it up if you guys want. So we can balance this up if you guys want. Okay, so in other words, my hearing is just... Do you guys want me to turn it up? There you go. Bumping your volume a little. But yeah, so that's on shuffle. Which also means that we can have some fun with this, because we can also play, you know, for those of you in chat, guess the song. I guess I can try as well. So yeah. Thank you guys for helping out with this. I like this alternative to listening to the Hell Temple music. We're gonna get enough of it tomorrow. Or not tomorrow, Wednesday. I can day of the week. I know that some of you may not know the soundtrack like the back of your own hands. So we'll say that it's also completely cool to guess what area it's from. I can't always confirm that, but it keeps us on our toes. And it's a trip through memory lane. We're just starting off getting all these solid walls in. That's one I'm not familiar with. At least not off the top of my head. The perils of putting something on shuffle. Okay. Maybe it's just that I don't remember it. It's Requiem. Well, with the question mark, yes. I like that start. Damn it, staged. Gotta give other folks a chance. But see, that's part of the joy of going through and listening to this while we're kicking back and mapping some. Dang it. I'm being a little sloppy today. This soundtrack is really awesome on the whole. Like, it just... I'm trying to think of a good way to articulate what I'm thinking. It plays partly into the just spirit of adventure of it, of discovering new things. Each area has its own character and its own influences, and it's really cool to see in many cases that reflected in the music, even when it's using some of the core motifs and playing around. But no, that bites. To enter, immediately exit, and not get the full version of it. That's just sad. Then again, I also know that I haven't necessarily done you guys the greatest service throughout the playthrough. My preferences for balancing on and mixing my audio have the game be very much secondary to the voice. And I tend to be quiet, so I balance quiet. Yeah, it's like missing the Screaming Gate of Illusion. So we've got this, and then room 0 is here. So we've got key features include... I also apologize in advance for any earthquakes. My desk has been slightly shaky. And we have a ladder going up the side. Speaking of the Scream. This is probably... So there are other tracks that ultimately I would enjoy listening to for longer, but this has to be one of my favorite, like, tone-setting tracks in the game. Yeah, you sit there and you're like, oh, it's gonna be... Yeah, we're just... It's Eden, it's gonna be a beautiful place, yeah, no. I was grinning like an idiot over that one. That horn line is one of my favorite parts of the song, and that's the key part of it that gets stuck in my head. But in like the best possible way. So let's see. Trying to get the approximate ratios on things is one of the fun parts of mapping, and by fun I mean pain in the butt, because especially with some of the some of the areas like Gate of Illusion, so many of the platforms connect across screens that heaven help you if you end up on a slight slant for one of them. It just next thing you know, it's not pretty. But yeah. So, now this is such a flavorful track. And let's see, we've got... Yep, that's about right. I should use my straight edge more, just to help get some of the lines scribed more accurately and quickly. The only problem is then if I hit something with an eraser, if I glance it and I want to fill it back in, then it looks all bad. Which is part of the reason why. That, and I'll maintain that part of it is an homage to a lot of the, especially the script stuff being originally hand-drawn and then brought in. So, you know. I get to be hipster or an elitist or whatever the heck we want to call it today. Nah. I'm just being silly. It's one of those days, right? It's a Monday, it's hot outside, it's all... like... I don't know. Mondays don't bug me as much as they seem to bug other people. They never really have as much. Even when I was in school, It just signaled the start of, you know, a period of greater work. Wonder of the wonder. God. So much. The funny thing is that I've done this playthrough over the course of like 6 months. So not all of it. Like, there's some of the earlier music that I love, but I can't. It's funny because some of the stuff I can think of what it felt like. So, in terms of memory and stuff, right? There's a lot of different ways that people remember things. Mine is very kinesthetically oriented. So, also visually, so seeing and doing, but also sound plays a huge role in it. And it's funny because it means that sometimes, like, if I hear a song or something, I remember the experience of what was around it, but not clearly. I just remember what the, like, emotional character of it was. Dang. It's just one of those things that's interesting to start thinking about. Like, I don't know, some folks might call it super pretentious, whatnot, but I enjoy delving into questions of, like, how do we think? How do we remember? How do we... Interstice of the dimension. Okay. Don't quote me on it, but I think we have this room. Oh, I need to... We're gonna do one thing with respect to noting. Or no, that's 0. Indexing from 0. Here we have room 1. Now, this is one where we break through this. I'm not going to be so concerned with things that were blocked off on this. This is just going to be more about getting the character of each room. So let's see. I guess that makes sense. Maybe. Made sense in my head. I'm not going to note so much the shortcuts, though, so long as I can remember where those came in. Here we go. In retrospect, I got a lot of very lucky points thus far in Hell Temple with respect to just how I ended up falling and the fact that I was able to maneuver to certain spots. One part of this that I'm not looking forward to, though, is figuring out where the delineations are for the different hell rooms. And I still don't know how we're gonna indicate those. Such a good one. So let's... Then we have... ground here. I'm trying to keep things somewhat even for you guys. But having it at an angle winds up supporting my wrist better. So let's see. I need a better place to set my controller than on my hand, or leg. Can I word? Well, the map names are all quote, if it makes you feel any better. Now we're focusing with respect to the map stuff on making sure that we get the numbers in. I think that's about the right spot. Yeah. Then we have 3 in here, which means that each takes about 3/4 of a line. Angry porg noises. So these erasers, right? They used to be like this big around. It is a space. The quotes aren't in the name. Ah. Aw. Take care, Air Caves. Do what you need to do. It's good having you stop by. You guys asked, and you guys received. Let me nudge this a little bit for you. And now the vocals are not as pronounced in this one. Stage showed me the YouTube one. Which I think one of the comments had like a, I forget if it was the comments or the about section, but it had a description, or it had a translation for the lyrics. It was freaking beautiful. The trick is that YouTube, I sometimes get ads, especially depending on which browser I remember to use. And honestly, I would have less of a problem with ads if they didn't jack up the volume so that they make me go deaf. That's part of why I have Spotify Premium, is because I need something where I can chain together a few albums and not go deaf due to ads. It's kind of awful. Sensitive hearing is a pain in the butt. Well, of course, feels like my hearing has been not doing so hot lately, which bites. Oh, the bird was a bonus. Wow. Hitboxes are weird. Okay. Oh right, I forgot the number. Yeah. I also think I figured out part of why Hell Temple is getting to me so much. So if we start thinking about the times when I really did well in the blind as a whole, a lot of it boils down to some of the stuff that spans areas. The stuff that I can go try a few different things in different areas. Oh, it's on the louder side for me. There we go. This is just awesome. Break out that wall. And then this is what I mean with some of the levels going across multiple rooms, which makes it more challenging to make sure, or rather I have to take greater care to make sure that stuff is at an accurate level if I want any accuracy in these. Which means that the stuff being askew there is going to bite me in the butt. Guarantee it. It's going to that edge of that. This is going there. And it's the same length as this platform. And we have... the next level is here. I'll be catching up on chat momentarily. Make sure that I get this down. It's rest, no rest. Stage misses out on all good music because he doesn't wear his headphones much anymore. So let's see. Yeah, I'm cramped lower in this. We're gonna raise this set of platforms a little bit. Not a lot, just a little. So that was the level they were at before. We're gonna nudge those up. There's a little gap over here. And then it goes to the midpoint of that platform. And I'm slightly off at the moment. I'll tidy it up. There's some... This is just awesome. So, let me see. Yeah, it's starting to get warm in here. I'm gonna do as much as I can, guys, to stay cool while streaming. Because I do not want to have to end this one early. Cool. So then, I'll hand draw these bits just because I need to sort of fudge factor on some of them. There's one blocky area. There's... This one is listed as Endless Challenger, the SSCC version. Pretty freaking awesome. No, I still need to figure out how the bugger am I handling the Oh, and I forgot to do the ceiling. Ceilings are important, folks. The earliest versions of my maps didn't note the ceilings and the floors. It was just going flat to the edge. One of the problems with that is I wasn't able to really see the drop-throughs and transitions that I could cross. So one of the earliest changes, other than the aspect ratio shift that I adopted in my maps, was making sure to note the floors and the ceilings so that things like this drop-through are not just implied, but are actually noted, basically. I know I'm gonna have to break out the one wall there, but we're gonna get to that. I have done some of the tweaks to some of the other maps to reflect the mantras. I am certain. Endless Challenger SSCC version. At least that's the name of it. It might be that it plays during time attack. I'm not certain on all these. I love how there's, like, rejected versions of certain songs on this. We're gonna have some fun with that, I think. So let's see. I really hope it doesn't get too much hotter in here. Because... like... shit. You know, generally I wind up wearing, you know, solid tops and stuff, but I'm actually wearing one of my other t-shirts just... Okay, stage that is known. You're a stoop. It's smurfed and just thrown down the facts here. It's cool stuff though. Like, one of the biggest bummers to me is that partly to preserve the blind. Hey, draw. Partly to preserve the blind, I haven't joined the la-mulana Discord yet. Because I figure that it's one of those... Most of the folks there have played through the games or don't give a crap about spoilers, so spoilers basically abound. And even though all I have left is hell in the blind, there's too high of a risk of spoilers, and Basically, it's just no. And then, of course, you get things confirming this, like the fact that Stage mentioned the other day that new Hell Temple tech was figured out. But see, I don't want to have that be the case. I also do read too much history. When I join a Discord, it's not uncommon for me to go back, you know, several hundred messages and just read through stuff to get the lay of the land. And that's... nah. So this one... I'm debating if I feel like being particularly put together on this or not. But no, it's... I like reading up, getting a lay of the land, getting a sense for what's going on, and... Hello, shops. Well, not... it's... Let me see. This room is a pain because of the... This room is a pain because of the platforms. Because I'm debating whether I want to... And yep, G-U-I-L-D spells guild. This is a pain, just trying to... I'm probably not going to do what I was thinking of doing. Part of me was tempted to... So, in this room, there are 5 types of platforms. Because there's a 3-count rotation through. So there's 3 patterns for ones that open up, like trapdoors, on a certain count pattern. There's also the invisible ones, and the ones that are persistent. And I'm debating, probably not going to, I was debating marking, basically, them, color-coding them or something. But, especially since that would serve as a nice reference for me in future. But... it's Mulbrook, but not. Right? Yeah. So let's see. That goes... yeah, I have a scaling problem here that makes this very challenging. So the aspect ratio doesn't quite work out in a way that lets me do this. I don't think... like, if I broke it up into all platform width segments and measured it out for that, I could do it. But that ain't easy. Bonga Wonga. That's just a beautiful name. Let's see, we've got a 5 width. So that's extending 1. It goes through there, I think. Yes. Then 2. And then 3, and up against the block, which is directly under here. Yeah, some of the platforms here get really interesting to try to do. I really felt so inclined I could label, or designate these. I might. Should I? I can at least do the count ones. If I grab the pens that I picked up the other day, I can do it. So 3 width brings it to 1 away from the end of that one. Then there's a 1 gap, 2 more, a 2 gap, 2 more, and then 2 against the edge. Maybe. Some of these rooms want multiple maps. Oh, this is gonna be icky. I'm gonna have a layer of platforms right at the bottom. So then 4. It's 1 longer than that one. 1 gap, 2. 1 gap. That one's a little off. 1 gap, 2. And then a 1 gap. Well, we determined that hell is, at least for the numbered rooms, mappable. I did this little bit of checking before stream, just to make sure that I could do loops, because otherwise my plan was to do little clusters of rooms, and then piece them together. The lay of the land of the la-mulana Discord is worse, has a lot to say. Followed by probably still me with about half the messages. Seer and Zeroth are probably catching up. Okay. It at least sounds like you're in good company on that. And plus, the only reason why I'm saved from the whole talking too much thing in the context of Discord is I talk in big walls, and I lurk a lot. And so the number of times I've drafted messages to post and get halfway through them and then go, no, this is going to be a whole damn novel. Nope. And just kill the whole thing. No, I'm excited to learn a lot of the, I'm excited to learn about a lot of the stuff that the game has to offer. Oh, right, I have the bottom. This is Laurel and Curry. Unless the delay is that bad, which it does not appear to be. I have both OBS and my stream open on my third monitor, which, among other things, lets me monitor delay so that I have a sense for things like how long to wait after I ask questions. Little things like that. That is a gap. This is directly under this one. That is a 1 spot, 2 gap, and a 1 spot. And to make it even more fun, that's filled in under there. So, if I want to record the counts on this, and this is how we do it. I'm possibly about to wreck everything. Hopefully not. Where the heck did those pens go? Why is there a light bulb on my desk? Stage, why is there a light bulb on my desk? What did you do? Staged? Why is there a light bulb on my desk? That's cool. So, the purple? I have green. Staged, why is there one on my desk? And orange. So going in color order to make this somewhat sensible. So we have this part of this platform, the middle chunk of this one, the end one of this platform, the right half of this platform, the right half of this platform. I know that the orange may not be the most visible, but I chose it mostly so that I wouldn't be dealing with a color that's too close to, this will be a lot clearer when I do the final pictures and upload them to the the map archive, which, by the way, I'm going to be updating in the next couple days, probably before next stream. If I'm really savvy, I'll have it done by tomorrow. But I don't always guarantee things like my memory. Berries, yo. So this is count 2, which is... Because here's the other thing that I'm realizing looking at this. Yeah, it's nice to know where the, like, always there platforms are, but so long as you know count-wise, like, where is safe to step, it's okay. Let's count 2. What's up? And here's count 3. So we have the... They look slightly different, too. Now that I'm really looking at it. Basically, I'm just not enough of a masochist to want to go through and figure out which ones, are just always drop-throughs. And I'm proportional enough that at least I can read this. Just make sure that it's indicated that there's a space in the middle there. This is different than, this is balanced different, but this is, Spring in the Sky, isn't it? I'm pretty certain that's Spring in the Sky. So yeah, just to give you guys a closer look. I know that it's not focusing happily, but to show that there's the different colors. It'll be a lot clearer when I upload this. Yeah, the Kleiny bit is way more prominent. I can see why this is a rejected version. And then we have the ladder up this side. Curse of the Ocean, yep. Well, the rejected version, but yeah. Curse of the Ocean. Oh, so this one changes it up. Interesting. Okay. Hey, llama vets. I'm noticing something in this. So, it looks like on the very left-hand side, so it looks like that's a column of blocks that's layered. I don't know if you could see it because of potential screen cutoff issues, but it looks like that's layered over the, like, fiery column thing, because I can see just the very edge of that there. Like, am I completely out of my mind? Is that how they're doing that? Is the blocks on the left-hand column being layered over? Alright, I forgot to... Where should I put a room number? The current room's easy. It's dab room. But now, let's see. What else have we got here? This is actually a little bit wider. Because it's the blocks layered over the column. Which of course is going to make me sit there and twitch looking at my map. I need to smooth out some of the shading differences later. Just tidy them up. Mostly it's tidying them up later so that I run less of a risk of getting severe smudges on the maps, because generally engineering paper is pretty friendly about not smudging, at least in my experience. So long as you're somewhat careful about it. Falafel first? And yes, I did say falafel first. It's a joke from a friend in school who had a really great one of those just misspeaking moments. Walbrook. Okay. Yeah, no, falafel first. Wise man who halts. Smurf is just smoking all of our butts at this. So now... See, this room is theoretically easy to map, except I usually like having some of the, Wise man who halts. Yeah. So... Looking at all this, though... I like to, when there's moving platforms, I like to give some sort of lightly shaded indication of the path. Except here I get such fun as a diagonal platform. Only one in the game, from what I hear. No, and it's... Okay, so think of it this way. For the true know-it-alls in the audience, coming up with the name of the song. But honestly, just coming up with the place is a huge thing, and I'll give credit for that. Plus, if you check the branding, totally teacher, I can grade you however I want. Let's see, we've got... I'm gonna come back to this room, honestly. Mostly because I don't feel like going through 10 cycles of it again, so that we can observe the fun phenomenon. Serpustel refuses to do his homework. The goat ate it. Okay. Dang it. Platform was popping out just above my head. And the other thing is the different cycles. I walked off of it. I'm good at this. It vibrated. You're gonna take a walk and go take pictures of the place and send them to me? Sweet! So now we are up to room 5. Hell Temple Slowdown. Wise Man who halts is stone philosophers. It's essentially a short version of Wise Man, which plays for human philosophers. Ah! I got you, Smurfton. I just knew... It's funny because the first thing that came to mind was, before I made the falafel first joke, is, Dwayne. The philosopher rooms. We kept on, or at least I kept referring to them as, Dwayne's rooms. As in Dwayne The Rock Johnson, yes. This room's just a pain in the butt because of the damn fire, if nothing else. So let's see. Eden? Huh. I didn't catch that bit, Smurfton. So, okay. I guess you don't get credit, if you insist. Let's see. We've got... No, I was sitting here listening to this one, and the grainy sort of feel of Eden came to mind. Like, that's sort of the quality of the mental image that I got. No, this is fun. We should have started... Actually, no, we shouldn't have started doing this sooner, because it helps that we've... Other than basically the time attack stuff, it sounds like, and possibly some stuff later in Hell, we've gotten to hear all of these, so it's actually... Eden tiles are weird. You guess they're foreground? Someone in chat could probably educate you. There's just the grainy, like, film sort of quality to it. Like, old school film is what it reminds me of. You brought a fairy up there and it appeared beneath the tiles. So, illusion is still there. Mm-hmm. This is a different version. But there's 2 screen-sized map areas. Huh. One for the foreground, one for the background. Ah! Let's see, we got this. We've got a head up there. We're doing just the best snakeheads here. Amphisbaena would be proud. They look like... You know how when they're teaching in math class, like greater than and less than? And they talk about like how the alligator eats the bigger number? That's basically what these feel like right now. Is the little sketches of like alligators that they start doing. It's either that or the little flying things from Euphoria. But no. That's cool though, that they've got just the foreground piece. And it gets... So the foreground's probably a pretty high layer. Yeah, that sounds like that would be the case. That's how they're achieving that. Which also means that depending upon how they do the fairies, then having the fairies appear behind it would be something you could have happen. Yeah, that was a sudden switch. So we've got... This room I'm eyeballing more. Friggin'... Hello, Mausoleum. This is such a bouncy one. This is honestly part of it. No, I don't strictly have to add the heads here. I just like doing so. My lead's acting a little weird. I'm gonna have to be careful on that. And yeah, I do draw with a lead pencil. I'm a damn heretic. Or a sensible person, depending upon who you ask. Now, I got used to working in pencil a lot with a lot of my schoolwork. This one currently is Grand History. The shift before was within the same, See, here's the trick. I don't know song names. I haven't particularly listened to the soundtrack, like, on its own, in a way that I would get the, names. One of the things that's kind of fun about this is... Oh, fair. Stage does. He's also working, though. So he's not sitting just a little bit off screen, as he often would be. He's... Let's see, you were in on the early side today, so you're probably due back, what, around... You're due out, like, 5-ish? I've seen that most blind players find Fudo randomly or through brute forcing. The Magella hint is cute. I love the Magella hint. So, I love that hint. Partly because... So, one of the things that we noticed is that there were some details that made it into my maps, right? I reach over to the magical cabinet full of maps. That's another one. Ooh, excuse me. Did I put things back in the wrong places? I think I did. Because that one belongs up there. One of the things about my mausoleum map, yeah, round 5, is that we were naming all the giants as we went. And see, I fixed it. I fixed it. I had it spelled B-A-T-O for the longest time. Yeah, I drew Stickman. Except they have some of the key features. So... That was one of the crazy things about it, is that you get Sackett pointing, you get, you get Ribu pointing, Abudo with his spear, you get Magella and Fudo with their spears. Like, had a whole bunch of good stuff like that just built into the maps. Partly because a lot of that started off because it was helping me keep track of different places. So there's some places where background elements get incorporated into the maps. For example, the Gate of Guidance, which played a big part at one point. Meant that I figured out the treasures pretty quickly, or at least, like, first major try was, right. Now, this, I will say, Ancient Machine, this title is one that I don't recognize as much. And it's partly because I didn't fight Planky that much. Planky is one that I need to figure out how to properly fight at some point, because I got fed up with him and shot him in the face. Nah, I shot him. I shot Planky in the face. This is a different version of the one that we heard earlier. So let's see, we have a 1 gap. There's a... Oh, right, the thingies are at different levels. Rip. About 3 platform widths. And a double. Level with this, we have a double It's one platform width away, diagonally down. Then the next level is approximately there. I'm gonna have to figure out which hells these all connect to soon. I'm not looking forward to that piece of this. Probably gonna start with some of the furthest areas in and then work my way back just for the sake of, like, limiting frustration factor over time. And it gets easier each time, basically. I'll catch up momentarily. I'm just trying to make sure that we get mostly accurate here. One away from that, the outside, triple. One gap, double. Then there's a single, like right down here just to frickin' spite me. So, Flanky is easy to kill unless you use gun with rolling shuriken. If you want to avoid sub-weapons, then you use... Or if you want to avoid sub-weapons, then you use shuriken and don't get hit by his body. But... Okay, katana, not shuriken. This is SSCC version Wise Men Who Halts. Earth Spears also work well. The katana is a decent strat until you realize that he can move upwards into you and essentially one-shot you. Yeah, Planky is one that... It's funny because later on, his bullet spread patterns became the easiest ones for me to read. But when they appeared later... they became some of the easiest ones for me to read. But at the time, I was just sitting there looking at, like, 3/4 of my screen is taken up by this bugger. He's shooting all sorts of stuff all over. There's this field of... Chalk rooms are amazing. Like, if you wanted... I know we've given me shit for not doing real damage a bunch of the time because of my use of things like shurikens. Chalk rooms are how to deal real damage with a ranged option. That's what I learned in my playthrough. I love chalk rooms. That said, something tells me that Staged is never going to recover from my Pazuzu fight. I totally didn't plink, plink, plink with feels like I'm missing something. Hold up. No. There was something I observed at some point that I missed. Hold up. I'm gonna actually check this. I'm trying to remember what it was and when I observed it. This is it the Mulbrook. Mulbrook! I don't know if that's the name, but... Oh! That's the name. There was something I noticed. I'm trying to remember which room. Oh, right. I mean, I can translate that, it's just... We're gonna go the cheap way. No, wrong. Need that. The hell temple is okay. Yeah, I don't trust stuff in... No. I keep thinking that I could wrap around the outsides of menus, and I don't know why. And Chakras do even get a dedicated puzzle. I freaking loved that one. No, there was something... I can't for the... I accidentally changed weapons at some point. Come on. Shield boxes are weird. What the heck did I notice? Yeah... there was something. Problem is, I'm sitting here going, there's... getting vibrated off the platform again. There's no way that there isn't something involving the stupid... skulls in the background at some point. Llama has done too much stuff with backgrounds. The best part is that I don't even know if I saw anything. And we have just clipping drops everywhere. Wraparound menus is an item selection. So when I say wraparound menus, I mean if I hit left here, it would wrap around to Yago Street. That's what I mean by the wraparound. Wait, there! Down here. There's a skeleton that's different. Or skull that's different. I love how... There was a thing somewhere. Where is it? It was in the room I was in. I was just blind the first time through. Good job, kitty. Good job. But yeah, so... There's no way that I'm getting a decent sketch of that, but I'm just gonna leave a... like, circle there, just indicating, hey, hey, hey. Point of interest. Or, well, it's an oval. The song is weird and creepy. This is Mother. Yeah, this track is... Ugh. Let's see, we have a ceiling here? The problem is I don't know how many hell rooms there are, otherwise I would contemplate stashing them, like, in here. Okay, so it's unused. I'm gonna say good, because this is just creepy AF. Like, well and truly. Also, I have no idea why my hair is being obnoxious today. Yeah. Thus far, I need to just fill in the moving platforms there, but... yeah, that song was... oh my god. I'm trying to think whether I'm right about where this is from. Yeah, I was gonna say Raveyard. By the way, it is in kitty canon. It's spelled with a K. Kitty canon. Yeah, K and Giant's Cry. But it's... the mental image that came with this one was of just the sliding on the ice. because that's a lot of what my first experiences with the area were. Here we have one thingy aiming down. We have another thingy aiming down here. I also love how this shows up for frickin' Sagat style room. Because where else are these little pew cannons from? There's cannons there. This is another one that has... I don't even know fully how to deal with this room. Let's see. And then these are the lovely blades. So normally I would do spikes as jagged, like triangle, teethy shape. These we're just doing as verticals. Because they're different from spikes. And because you move through them and they kill you too. But I'm debating, are we gonna... Oh, bugger. Slightly off. It's not quite centered. Then we have this room. This room, which I got because game design. So basically, solving this room came down to the understanding that there's a small gap there. And that I needed... Basically, why is there a lever that lifts a thing? And, so you have to think about the why behind that, like why would that exist? The nice thing is that design logic wise, this game is generally pretty solid in its consistency. Like, sure, it'll subvert your expectations, but as a whole, it follows a pretty consistent set of paradigms with respect to how you can interact with things, at least thus far. Excuse me. But this room, a lot of this boiled down to, okay, so you have lamp of time problem. Okay. What can we throw up through a thing? And I used like 20 bombs trying to figure this out. MQ's noting that you can throw a bomb and land back on the pressure plate without the lamp of time, but it's very precise. Yeah. Given kitty platforming and stuff like that, like, some of the stuff that I do ends up being precise, but as a whole, I don't trust... Put it this way, if we're planning on things like relying on me getting platforming and stuff right, we've already lost. Okay, it's not quite that bad, but it can be that bad, especially with Dead Cells jumps. And MQ's noting, it does mean that you can access the shop without Lamp of Time, assuming you have boots, which is important for rando. Ah! If you have boots, you can raindrop, and including Hell Temple and rando is a bad idea. Oh no. If nothing else, coding the logic for it sounds like it would suck. I'm just saying, like... There's some spots where, like, the logic for rando would probably suck, but... MQ's been clearly hanging out with stage too much. Including it is an option in rando is a bad idea. You're a bad idea. Damn it, MQ. Hearing that in Stage's voice. but like sort of superimposed over yours. Or it's more like your voice with staged intonation, which is a very weird mix. Serpent's back home. Welcome on back. And Stage following up with, your face is a bad idea. Guys, keep it civil in chat. Don't make me have to put you guys in opposite corners for timeouts. We're not actually throwing timeouts around, it's just... disclaimer. It actually takes a fair bit to earn a timeout here. Like... it can happen, but we generally don't have too many problems with that for this channel. It's kind of nice. Especially with some of the stuff that you hear about other folks experiencing when they're streaming. Like, there's been a few, you know, awkward turtle moments, but nothing overtly hostile. Ah, Naki has some boops on Discord with the pictures of the place. I will be checking that out as soon as I'm done stream today. Or possibly when I take a break, because I will need to take a break at some point. Not a long one. Basically just amounting to going and refilling my water bottle and then, spending like a minute or two standing in front of the AC to make sure that I'm staying cool enough. Because like I said, it's like 90 out. And with almost that high of, humidity. Which is icky and gross. Actually, it's not quite as bad humidity-wise as it was yesterday, I think. Maybe, I hope. I might just be talking out of my ass. So then, let's see. MQ did Hell Temple testing. It was mostly fun. From what you heard, implementing wasn't difficult, just time-consuming. Did a minor bit of testing, actually. She checked if you require the boots to bring... Checked if you require the boots to bring a key fairy to the upside-down door, an illusion, assuming you lack the Holy Grail. You don't. It's just kind of precise. Damn. No, that's some fun stuff. I know that I've said this before, but I love getting to hang out with a lot of y'all that have a lot of experience and just knowledge in this. It's really cool to hear just all about it, really. And all the quirks of it, and the silly things, and... Worse just noting, doesn't sound very precise to me. We're gonna do sort of a lighter shading on this block. And I know that there's originally block stuff there, but we're gonna just leave that. Put a thick spot for the So you have to take a key fairy from Twin Labs. It's a decent journey. What? Hold on. Considering that until 2016, the speedrun required taking a key fairy to Bahamut, killing Bahamut, collecting the birth seal, and warping to extinction and locking the gate of time without it expiring. What? Yes, quite. Why would you use the Twin Labs for it? Anchor isn't required for a Hell Temple. Assuming no glitches or damage boosting, can't get it. Yeah, the old route sounds... Yeah. And shit, they haven't sent you the link for the meeting tomorrow? Is it too late for you to hit them up, Jackie? Key fairies last for 3 minutes. Oh my god, 2 not including transitions. That's just... Blech. Blech. That's a technical term. And yeah, so we're in this room. Trying to keep track of where I am. I am slow on the mapping today, which is a shame. It's a tricky area to map, don't get me wrong. It's just... I was hoping that we could get through some more. Rebirth. I just have so much fun with this one. It's also nice because you've left a message with no answer. Oof. Tell you what, as I wrap up this room, I think I'm going to take a really quick break. So I'm going to leave you guys with the Song of Curry. And I will be back in about, call it 3 minutes. So this is the perfect chance to take a quick tea break, grab a snack. So, brain, where's things stuff? Anywho, I'll be right back. What did I tell you guys? Boo-a-doo-a-doo. Okay. Let's see. Catching up real quick. And no, Naki, I would be upset as all hell as well. Like, they need to get the shit together. So, Worst Thing is asking why Twin Labs dealing with the what I believe MQ was noting about routes involving key fairy stuff and getting to hell. So, so Twin Labs is faster than Moonlight. It would be with the Twin statue, probably to remove the sub-weapon requirement, Smurfton notes. Worse than you was thinking the Moonlight to Graveyard shortcut, crazy as that sounds, you know, quotes, shortcut. And Smurfton agreeing, yeah, that'd work, and you enter on the screen. That does require solving the Pierce Her Heart puzzle. Never mind, no it doesn't. You go through Graveyard. So if we're going from a minimal requirements point of view, it makes sense. So we're noting stage saying could go grave or should go through could go through Graveyard or Moon to Sun to jump into Sun to Eden. Ugh. Guys, you sounded like me trying to route my way to Mulbrook after I lost a minute and a half. Or 2 minutes, or whatever the heck I lost in the Escape the Ruins. Let's see. I think I have this ring game. So, Moon to Sun requires Bronze Mirror, which according to Zero isn't required in English, but could be misreading. Why did I go... Rain. Yeah, okay. Hey guys, you know that whole bit where I'm bad about spotting ladders? Guess who just almost didn't see the ladder? Totes wasn't me. Totes my goats. Guess the point is that if Twin Labs is possible, then it makes things easy peasy. Then we have room 9. Try to think of this track. 'Cause this has to be a boss track. I also do have the spot of, I think, mostly hidden, so that's to the far left. Now this is... yeah. Giant's Rage. Boom. One of the things that's interesting about this is you can pick up some of the motifs that appear in, or at least, unless I'm completely off my rock rate, some of the motifs that I'm picking up are from Graveyard and from Mausoleum. Like, I'm definitely picking up traces. I may leave figuring out Hells till next time, with respect to where they map to. The reason I'm thinking that is just... I know there's interest in seeing Hell mapped. But I don't know that I'm gonna have it in me to interact with Hell to that extent at the moment. One of my knees is hurting, and it's limiting my ability to focus and tying up sort of mental resources that way, which makes it that much harder for me to stay in a healthy, chill sort of feel. Not even necessarily chill, but at least, like, not so salty that I'm at risk of, like, crying. That was rough the other night. So, I don't necessarily... Salt is not necessarily my jam. Okay? Which is fine. That's all well and good. But I was getting frustrated enough with Hell and just screwing up the same thing over and over and over again enough that my platforming basically was doing me in. So I ended up switching over to storytelling and then calling it for the night. But one of the things it means that I am more poignantly aware of now is that I need to be careful. I need to be careful with respect to basically how long I interact with Hell. And do things like take breaks. It's almost like that's something that streamers should do. And that I am good about in certain ways, bad about in others. The trick is that it got warm. So I can't go and make the quick tea breaks to even just get the like 3 to 5 minute AFK sort of thing. This is... I can't word. Okay. Yeah. We're gonna need a change of pace in the not too distant future. Possibly sometime before next Sunday AD. So I should know this and surface. Right. There we go. Nah, I might need to switch it up mapping wise. Catching up real quick. Stage, trying to think of what glitches would let you avoid bronze mirror doors. You can RDD through the pyramid, but how you'd need mirror to get... how you'd need mirror to get to Nua. Bunch of items in that path, but no guarantee it's required. Getting Nua without mirror is a thing, but possible. Not as a thing in rando logic, though, for various reasons. Yeah, see, that's honestly the thing that seems like the biggest trick of rando, is figuring out all the logic to it. Especially given, like, the heavily non-linear nature of things means that you... Yeah, it gets really interesting, trying to figure out all the possible paths that would open up and... Yeah. Oh, hi! It's Magus. So you can lock yourself out of it by placing a weight. It requires 2 glitches, you can't even select the logic, and it's unreasonably difficult. So, all I'm hearing there is a nope. Hashtag not worth. But no, how you doing, Magus? Let's see, we are going through hell. Slowly getting there. I need to definitely clean up some of the shading in a bit. So we have the 2 blocks over here. And this is where the 9 block is. In a lot of ways, 9 is the easiest of these to recognize for me. Technically, you could do it with only one of the glitches, but that's even harder. And MQ noting that random logic can be super cool. MQ hasn't experienced this yet, but something he thought of the other day is Origin Seal locked in extinction. Magus, saying doing alright. Friend got by to at least see which of the drives you got. Which of the drives you got to deal with even work. Also pick up the NES games. Yeah, because you said you had like 19 of them, I think? Like, that's a particular subset of treasure trove. That goes across to there. Here we have another ladder. Yeah, this room is coming up pretty messy. I also think I got my lateral spacing wrong, which is a shame. this one extends all the way down. There's not actually a platform there. Oh, this is the Ankh thingy, the pre-boss. This is the, it's time to do the thing. But now, I think we might need a story break in a few minutes. It's kind of what I'm leaning towards. I've got a few interesting ones that have come to mind lately. Oh no. Well, at least this one's quick. That is a derp moment. You. Oh, I'll grab a weight. Extinction? Yeah, this is another song I got well acquainted with because of the mapping Chamber of Extinction, because remember, that was the first mapping stream. I mapped that in the dark. Like, I've been maintaining maps. But then we had the mapping in the dark episode. Because that was the first mapping stream, partly because I determined that there was too high of a risk of me discovering things just because of the nature of the area. So that was before I got flare gun. Damn. That was months ago. That was back in like February or some shit. What the heck? It's kind of crazy. With this whole playthrough, let's see, my first installment was in November. And then Station and I both got really sick. So the next installment was at the start of December. And then holidays, getting sick, you know, or ongoing being sick issues and things like that. So then January is when we really buckled down and started doing weekly. But I started playing la-mulana over 6 months ago. Damn. I mean, sure, you know, doing once a week episodes for a playthrough is great with respect to giving yourself time to think. But it's also great for giving yourself time to think, but it's goes slow. And then you consider that I'm usually out of town for at least a chunk of a week once a month, and it's, you can see how it starts taking that long. It's just like, holy cow. Then we have these 5 pillars. We're gonna do this nice and easy. We're going easy mode on this one. I still can't believe how many times I got stuck in this room. Those are even enough, right? Right? Then we have Elmac head. Okay, that's just a little dragon. That works. But no, it's crazy to think that the playthrough was that long. And again, I counted up how many hours were involved in it at one point using the archive playlist, and I was just like, holy crap. Yeah, you start streaming in few hour chunks. Then you start looking at, like, how much goes into the game as a whole, and you're just like, what? You don't tend to think of it more than, 3 to 5 hours a shot. Now, I know that stuff took a little longer for me. Weird as it is, the fact that it was on stream meant that some things took longer than they otherwise would have. Because normally, you can set down a game, you can go, leave for, 15 minutes to do something else, then come back and be like, oh, I'm a Gunderbutt. But, yeah, it's a silly room. I'm not even getting near the, fact that they were so obnoxious in hiding the one thing, the one dais. I'm not even approaching that. It is silly even without considering that. Yeah. One of the things that winds up being hard for me about Hell Temple is one of the things that I recognized that I excelled at ultimately throughout the run was if you gave me written clues. Part of it helps because of how I made my notes and cultivated them over time. Yeah, the pillars, the room 10. So, no, when I look, so with respect to just progressing though, part of the trick for me was that I excelled more when you gave me esoteric written clues everywhere. And basically when I could use sort of this heuristic approach that also included aspects of just looking at the nature of how to interact with things and do game design sort of principles. You think of how can I interact with this thing? What are the possibilities associated with that? Things like that helped a lot, but I'm having to lean on that significantly more heavily here in Hell Temple, and it's honestly one of the things that really gets me about it is that I did most of the other shit that I can do in the game. Like, when I think about the things that I've heard about la-mulana, of course, as I start talking about a freaking serious point, we get fucking Bongawanga. That's a name. So, but looking at this, yeah, you can approach each room on the game design sort of level in terms of how am I capable of interacting with something. But it's not giving you much traction to deal with. Like, if I start thinking about the things that I've heard about la-mulana with respect to difficulty and stuff and the kinds of complaints that people have, because you hear some of that. Even if you're maintaining a blind, people will talk some about just the nature of it and what frustrates them. And a lot of the things that I've heard people complain about with the main portions of the game are things that I'm running into as problems with Hell Temple, exclusively. Things like, they're like, you have to be able to read the devs' minds in order to be able to, advance and get through things. Don't get me wrong, there's still logic in it. And it's still teaching you to some extent. Like, that's the crazy thing, is there are still aspects of this that are sequentially teaching you things. Things like don't trust floors, and, other aspects of this. But I don't even want to think about later on when all that starts to come together. I can see that, Smurfton noting that hell formed a large part of this game's reputation. But it also is a shame to me because, yes, this is a part of the game. I think originally it was like DLC or something. At least, how it was dealt with for the remake. Don't quote me on that. I think I remember hearing about that. But I'm looking at this. Love this track. Stage noting it was WiiWare DLC. So this is part of the game, strictly, but it's not part of the like main stuff. It's bonus content. It's like sitting there and trying to judge a game's difficulty off of the super secret, you know, statted to kill you boss. Like, if someone were trying to sit there and judge the Final Fantasy X games off of the Dark Aeons, and judging the difficulty based off of that, or similarly just excessively hard things, that's part of what bugs me about this. So there's a lot of people that would balk at this game, and also that would get psyched out by it. Yeah, see, Dark Aeons. The Wii was DLC because there's not enough space in the Wii downloadable game size left. Fair enough. And I can understand that. I can understand noping out of the Final Fantasy X post-game. I can understand that. Shit, you think of the fucking Fiend Arena, and it's just... okay. But to judge an area, or to judge a game based on a piece of bonus content is... There are some games that are all about the post-game. Don't get me wrong. You know, it's that are very heavily about what you do after the main story. This isn't like that. And people psych themselves out on the main portions of this, at least from what I can tell from the little bit that, like, hanging out around, you know, some of the folks that are chilling for, like, arcades playthrough and stuff. It's... folks psych themselves out, or they set it down for too long and they forget half the shit. Aw, hey, it's a serious guy. But no, like that's one of the things that bugs me on this, is that if so much of its reputation boils down to this optional area, that's not what you should be judging a game by. There's 3 that you can stand on over there. Try to make sure that I get number of platforms right and spacing, which I think I'm running bad on spacing at the moment. So we're gonna tweak these guys up. But yeah. It might not seem like a huge tweak, but that leaves me with much more room to spring in the sky? Yeah, and for those of you who've come in later, we've got, instead of... so we don't get driven mad by the hell music. We've got the soundtrack currently playing on shuffle off Spotify. So we're having some fun with, We're having some fun with, identifying it. The vets in the audience, who are more familiar with the names on the soundtrack can go for the, names of the songs themselves. The rest of us are going through, the areas, basically. My spacing's bad here, and there's not much I can do about it. Because I think my spacing problem originates up here, and I don't feel like fixing that far. If there's inaccuracies in my maps, generally I know they exist, it's just that I didn't want to erase half my shit to fix it. This is room 11. I've only gotten up to room 15. Oh, and I have an idea for how to deal with room 15. Do you guys want a spoiler for Wednesday? Because I'll give you guys a spoiler for Wednesday. Because on Wednesdays we play la-mulana. Looks more like some kind of demented flower than the fish. But here we go. I am curious to see what happens when I go to replay this, though. 15 is fist room. At least I think. I'll double check. So then here we have... So, one thing that I need to do later. So, Llama vets out there know that there's a couple of rooms in Hell that are not on my map yet. Specifically Hell rooms, of which there's at least 2. I talked about this some earlier, but I surmised that... So if we start thinking of an area you classically think of as having 20 rooms in this. The manual tells you that, and all that jazz. But if you start thinking of it more a la Twin Labs, where you have the front and the back side together, then a whole area is... including its front and back, is 40 rooms. There's no way in hell this is only 20 rooms. Especially if I'm at 15 and there's 2 accounted for... Or sorry, index is at 0. So that means that we have, what, 16 numbered rooms plus 2 hells? Yeah, there's no way that this area is only... there's no way that this area is only 20 rooms. I'm guessing that this is a 40, but I don't know how many hells are in that. So I don't know what the final number is going to be. I also don't know... And... Last battle with a question mark. So the other trick with this is... But because I don't know... There's the first cluster of rooms, so think of it as the first lobe of rooms, seems to all dump you into one hell if you fall into it. Everything thus far along this lobe dumps you into another one. Or it's more like, it's less a lobe and more a candy cane. I don't know where the delineations are going to be though. So I don't know if I can just tack them in somewhere like, oh hey, you know, throw the first hell here, the second one there, or whether I'm gonna need to allocate those otherwise. There's also the potential for secret rooms in here, which I would think is more likely, except for the fact that we have 2 of them thus far. I wouldn't expect there to be 2 of them like that. And this is not something where it's a mirrored area like Twin Labs. Yeah, fun stuff. I'm still figuring out where the bugger I'm gonna place the stinking hells. I don't know how many there are. I know that there are minimum 2. You want to check room boundaries, kill an enemy. And be aware that they are always rectangles. That's a short one. Or watch the parallax. Eh. True. Very true. Now this one I don't recognize. This track is Easter. subdivides into twos. Yeah, no, that's... I'm listening. Yeah, I'd be curious to see the sheet music on this one. So let's see, so Smurfed noting that tracks like this are probably going to appear remixed in 2, but they've been cut since Classic. This one's jammy. God. So the term jammy comes from one of my friends in college. If you guys are in my Discord and have seen him around, it's actually Chesh, Cheshire Cat. I could see this as being really good remixed and done for 2. Yeah, this is fun getting to listen to all this. This part feels like this would be why it was cut. People go crazy for Aqua Wish, which apparently is making it into 2. That one I don't know off the top of my head. We'll have to see if I go crazy for that one as well. I will say I'm a sucker for certain progressions. Just straight up. Like, there's some music that I just hear the chord progressions and I'm like, okay. This is gonna etch itself into my soul, into my psyche, into everywhere. There's no way... I'm slightly off-center on this, aren't I? Yeah, I'm off-center. Oops, I'm losing my earbud. So this one shorter. Yeah, like this chunk I like a lot. No, like some of the progressions that, depending if you've seen Moana, a bunch of the musical progressions in there are ones that just naturally tend to etch themselves into my psyche. Okay, so Serpentsteel did get the email back. Serpent is working on opening a jerky shop, which I'm excited for. And I know a bunch of staged co-workers are as well. Yes, that's 1:30 your time. Let's see. We've got this. There's something off about these platforms, and I cannot for the life of me quite figure out what it is. So here we have this block. Yep, 1:30 your time. We don't know this track, not at all. Not at all. Ooh. Yeah. I'll touch base with you about that once I'm done stream. But yeah. No, he makes... Yep, it is la-mulana. Also, apologies for accidentally punching my mic. I really hope that that doesn't, like, translate too horribly when I accidentally do that. The trick is that because of... There's sort of 3 different places that my mic could be according to what I'm streaming. So it sits at a different place when Staged and I are streaming versus when I'm doing mapping versus when I'm doing Dead Cells. The problem is if I'm in the slightly wrong, like, physical space mode, then I wind up accidentally punching my mic. Knacky! Knacky! Serpent's tail. I don't want you apologizing for being freaking excited. Like, come on. This shit's cool. You're working on opening up a business. Making some yummy stuff, distributing it to the world. Like, come on. How can you not be excited about that? Like, shit. I know I'm excited for you. I know a lot of the chat today has been about, like, la-mulana stuff and some of the tech and things, especially, you know, with looking at the crowd that we have, it's a lot of folks who are very knowledgeable on this. You know, and who are having a good time talking about it. But that's not the only thing that happens here. Yeah. Nope. No punchy. I think... Did I get everything in here? I hope I did. This one I'm not familiar with off the top of my head. But no, like... Shit. No, this... One thing I want folks to be aware of. Ah, Fairy Queen. Mega's talked about how he thinks we're looking at 7 to 8 of these hard drives getting the hammer's end of repair. Woof! And you said that one of them is 60 gigs? Like, oof! So... But here's the thing, though. With respect to, like, being excited about something and wanting to share that. Yeah, there's times where it's more appropriate to share things privately. Yeah, depending on what you're excited about. But the fact of the matter is that I don't want you guys to sit there and go, oh, yeah, I shouldn't be talking about something I'm excited about. Yeah. The world is already good enough at telling us that nobody cares. We don't need to fucking reinforce that for ourselves. No. This is a place where it's... Talk about the things that make you feel. Like... If you're enthusiastic about something, if you love it, fucking talk about it. I may not necessarily have the full familiarity with it. I love it when people are passionate about shit. So no, excitement, stuff like that is always welcome. And obviously, you know, PG-13 considerations, etc., at least in general. But, like, no. Like, you get me talking about how Stage and I are looking at getting a house. You get frickin'... And yes, it was Legendary Small Beauty. You get, yeah, you get other folks talking about the cool stuff going on with them. Like, that's... I recognize this, but I don't know. It is I should know this. This is a boss fight. Isn't it? Also completely off my rocker. But no, like... Nope, I'm completely off my rocker? Okay. I mean, we already knew that. But you know, I'm not having the external confirmation. No, I love hearing about the stuff that people are passionate about. Mini boss fight music. Fair point. Didn't have the boss intro. Might need to take a quick snack break in a few minutes, which might be a story time break too, depending. Because I know I need to, make sure I do little things like remember to eat. I did eat before stream, but it was long enough ago that I'm feeling the need for more foods. Let's see, we've got this. Nah, some of the... You guys never did answer, or at least I missed it. You guys want a spoiler for what my memo to myself is for tomorrow about room 15? Which is the one with the great punchline. The reminder that I wrote to myself last week, like a day, no, it might have been like a couple hours after we wrapped up stream. My note to myself for room 15 is Pink Floyd. Ah, this is the one that you're talking about, Aqua Wish. I can see part of why folks go nuts for it already. Yeah. But no, Pink Floyd. Some of my clues that I leave for myself are very interesting ones. Because it's more about jogging the why I'm thinking of it. So one of the things that I've talked about at different points is the why behind things. And anytime that I'm talking about things like a story or something, you usually get a lot of context around it. The why, the how. But that's partly because those cues are major memory cues for me. So, in the case of Pink Floyd, because the wall. But yeah, I'll be taking a look at that one on, what day of the week? Wednesday. Wednesdays we play La-mulana. But yeah, on the one hand, worse than you, I wish. On the other hand, I don't. Worse than you, saying, are you becoming comfortably numb to Hell Temple? Smurf chiming in with, I don't think you're a brick. I mean, this is when I can just completely change up the references and start making thick as a brick jokes. I'm just gonna get across this one. And then map. Here we have this. We're almost through the chunk of Hell Temple that I can map. At which point I think I'm going to take a little food break. Not a huge one. I'll probably Actually, we'll see. I might need to just take a quick breather and evaluate how I'm doing and see how my stamina is holding up. Because one of the things that we've noted over time is that I'm not always the best at reading how my stamina is going while I'm on stream. Usually it's the just complete crash afterwards. I dig Doug says, you obviously are not comfortable and numb if you're not playing normal music. So part of this is honestly so that I don't inflict it upon y'all, but it's also, we're just having fun. I took the original soundtrack and put it on shuffle. Because at the start of this, I'm like, I don't want to be inflicting Hell Temple music on everyone. And it's also fun to go through and see, like, what I remember and sort of collectively guess what's going on with the music. Plus, we get to see some of the rejected tracks, like Aqua Wish. Yeah, I zeroed out the background music, I turned up my sound effects slightly just in case, and put on some music. So, if the sound balance is a little different than you're used to today, it's partly because I didn't... Pro Strimmer right here. I didn't have this set up to go immediately before. I didn't have it pre-sound balanced. So I had to sound balance by eye in OBS. And then we have the Vi eyes. The Vi's have it. Giga Magma. Yep. Let's see, we've got... No. Brain. I don't even know what I'm doing. Don't mind me. Okay. So we've got a large gap, small one, large, small, large. We're gonna have to say that's close enough. Those are each Vi eyes. I love how they have the eyelashes like pulled back. So let's see, we've got down here, got over here, there's a block. The next room is going to be a pain to map, but should hopefully help me with getting through it. Only by getting me just that much more familiar with everything. But yeah, I'm gonna figure out how to map the hells later. Excuse me. So specifically the rooms that say hell on them, there's at least 2 distinct ones that I have encountered. I am supposing that there's gonna be at least one more because I'm assuming... Because right now, hell indexes from 0. So we have 0 through 15, which accounts for, what, 16 rooms. So we have 16 rooms there. We have 2 hells. And we only get through Palenque. So yeah, there's definitely got to be more than 20. At Hell Temple, yes. Or, well... if you're selling burritos at Hell Temple, I don't know that that would be the best idea. But, no, so, I did Serpent's Tail, who I keep referring to as Naki. He, is working on opening a jerky shop. So, stuff that he's commenting on, dealing with that. As for the room numbers, and how many rooms I suppose there are, I'm supposing the entirety of Hell encompasses 40 rooms. It indexes from 0. I don't know how many Hells there are, so those are all going to pull away from it, but it means that unless we wind up with, like, 20 Hells or some shit, it's going to be, like, 35-ish. Maybe? 35 visitors? No, hold up. We have 16 rooms with 2 hells. So assuming 2 for every 8 rooms. Approximately. We assume 2 for every 8 rooms approximately. Then we get, that's a staged.
Nope.
So it's 2 for every 8 or so rooms. I can math. So that would mean that we end up with, if we have 32 numbered rooms, which would be 0 through 31, there would be 4. Yeah, screw it, I'll make a guess of 4 hells. If we're assuming 40 rooms total.
9 circles of hell.
Now see, it would be clever if they had 9 floors in hell. See, that would be clever. But yeah. King Kondo.
The rejected or the main version?
Oh. Okay, so. It's amazing that you can hear staged all the way from his work. Nah, he just got back. He headed in early today. He headed in on the early side today, which means that he got out earlier. Because basically, they're like, yeah, so long as you log your 9 hours during, like, daylight, basically. You got some flexibility. That said, I think he's gonna be, quiet for a bit. Or maybe just run away. I think he got scared off. Guys, we scared him off. So Meg is chiming in again. So then, Friend took 2 of the good SATA drives, all the IDE drives to test them and see which ones he can use, leaving me with 4 SATAs that do not work and 1 that does. I still maintain. So how about that Minesweeper? Magus has been playing with an old, tower. Like, really old tower. Has been having fun with that, but it turns out that it doesn't really have the capability to run much. And yeah, I know, staged being quiet, I know it's crazy to think I should know this. Oh, Magus, look at the upside. The tower's not legal to drive yet. At least not in the US. So this is gonna be dab room number 2. It's that bottom right rune. That's dab room. And we have the final room that I can map for now. Or at least that I can concretely map. Okay. Oh. The brain. Call it Peta now? I think my power just flickered. One of the problems with getting hot here is that clearly the power infrastructure is not, at least in the area, doesn't stably sustain the number of devices on it, so we get a fair number of like power flickers and stuff. It's fun. Makes me very glad that I keep my so my computer and monitors and everything are plugged into an uninterruptible power supply, a UPS. Yep. Good night, Mom. I feel like I'm reading a children's book now. But yeah, so hold on. Room this is a little bit off center. Call that like there. Call this here. Get this down. So, mine, I'm just paranoid about. So, when I got my rig, it was last summer. It was only slightly under a year ago is when I built my rig. But at the time I knew that I was erring to the paranoid side, and one of my friends, his tower, so the property that my friend lives on is prone to lightning strikes. And so a lightning strike happened close enough to the house that it cooked his computer. And I was living in an area that was also somewhat prone to strikes. Now I know that at that point a UPS isn't necessarily going to protect it, but it at least gives you a prayer. Additionally, the power where I was living last summer would also flicker. So using that to make sure that I didn't have my computer be subject to any major surges. So I made sure that you get a decent UPS, and it helps just protect everything. So basically, and when I was building this rig, it was his single biggest recommendation was to just keep it hooked up to a UPS, because then you don't have to worry quite so much about it. The way that I tend to think of it is basically that it's putting another layer between you and direct input from the power line. So, or rather your computer and the power line. I started thinking of it in terms of like a stream flowing into a lake, and then a stream leaving the lake, sort of ideas in terms of flow rates. So the fact that you have the large volume associated with something like a lake, it serves to buffer. The series of dams really. It serves to buffer things downstream from impacts, at least temporarily. Dinsdale, a set of dams to prevent a series of dams. So circling back a sec. So, Dig Dug noting, did you know that IDE solved many problems and that IDE was much better than what came before? IDEs are older. Okay, so and then Dig Dug. Once upon a time, hard drives and hard drive adapter cards and hard drive cables were not standardized, so you pretty much had to buy them as a kit. And if you plug the wrong adapter into the wrong hard drive, one or both might blow up. Yeah. And worse than you had a lightning strike recently, but it was on a phone line, so UPS itself wouldn't have helped. The one thing that we've contemplated doing is trying to figure out a way to reconfigure things so that we can get the router on UPS as well. But yeah, that's the trick is that it's way over there. I say it's on the other side of the room, which it's like a 13 by 21 foot room, so but no, and then so then we have and I remember one thunderstorm, this tiny little phone line converter box we had directly connected to the wall wound up bursting, being thrown across the room. Oh my god. And yes, Dig Dug, the TLDR on the commentary regarding the hard drive stuff is, get off my lawn, you kids! Toasty! Okay, I take it back. Dig Dug had the right of it. There's no way he's being quiet.
I have important business to get done.
Mm-hmm.
It was important.
You ran away. I see how it is. Also, I have no idea what dinner is.
Don't worry, neither do I.
One of the things that I need to do tomorrow, since it's not a streaming day, is make sure that I get to the store, because one of the sort of the loose ideas that we've been trying to run with is that, or that we've been talking about running with, really, is that if someone is streaming, then basically they're not responsible for dealing with the food that day. The trick is that in the execution is really... So, I know that I teased my thought earlier, but more specifically, my thought regarding it is that the punch trap gets me every damn time. There doesn't seem to be any way around that. But what I'm looking at on it is that instead of thinking of it in terms of how to avoid trap, it's... So one of the things that's really overarching with the path to Hell Temple and Hell Temple itself is things being in places where you wouldn't expect. Or things being in places where they don't look like they should be. So things like the room we were complaining about earlier, what is it, room 10? With,
Elmac.
Yeah, Elmac's room. The fact that there's a dais hidden in one of the blocks. The fact that there's all these other spots where things just are not what they seem. So, looking at all that, it's not what it looks like, is basically the TLDR on a lot of this. So... Dinsdale, nobody expects the dais in the block. And hold on, wait, what did I miss? Yeah, Naki, he shaved. Thrifted. Look, I bought RS-232 adapters and been told that the VGA cables were over there. He's no longer Growly. So, RS-232 and VGA don't even look similar. Ugh. So let's see, Stage never streams, so what I gather is you guys need to come live in my town so I can cook for you every day. Yo, like... That'd be god-tier levels of awesome.
The only condition I have is that you need to air condition the town. If you do that, we're good. We're golden.
Neither Stage nor I do well in heat.
How do you know I'm in heat? Don't let them know that.
Stage games, everybody. I don't even know where to start on all that. Oh my god. Dang it, Staged. Dang it, Staged.
Hey.
Dang it, Staged.
Say what?
Dunderbutt.
Say
what? Okay, so this is room 15. This is, which is really the 16th room in this because of how the indexing works. It's the 16th numbered room. Why are you looking at it funny?
I don't know what I want to do right now.
Figure out food.
That's already in the process.
Is it?
Yes.
Are you just saying that?
It's in the process, and it's up to you.
Oh my god. We're great at this, guys.
You're great at this.
We got very familiar with this one, didn't we? With this track. Escape. Because I spent how long? So, one of the funny things about Hell Temple is most of the time, mapping aside, I'm much closer to a 1-to-1 ratio on, like, game time to stream time ratio than at any other point in the game. And then you get moments where it's like, yeah, 5 minutes to escape, right? And I burned like a minute and a half or 2 minutes of it. So then it's like, Okay. Got a brain. Crap, my brain is crap in the bed. Okay.
Because I got home.
Oh, no, it's because I'm hungry.
That's what I said, because I got home.
And I even remembered to have a pre-stream snack. And yes, I know, I can have jerky. I think we're good. So, You know the 9th pin most people move? That signifies that the phone is ringing. RS-232 tried to do everything. RS-232 standard defines more than 9 signals, but nobody really needs more than 5. And you can get away with 3. What if shared ground? That was a pin, right? Huh. This is just cool. The more you learn, the more you know. Okay. Damn it, I really want to get to Tog. But I think I'm at the point... What time is it?
5:30.
My med is going to be wearing off in the not too distant future, so I have to be mindful of that. For those who don't know, hi, ADHD. But, basically the big thing about that is that, my meds, when they wear off, it just... Yeah. Still gonna spoil it, guys? So, I'm not gonna attempt it. But I'm thinking I need to jump through the bit of wall there. So the wall that's just underneath the characters for Hell Temple right now. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know if I'm right. But that's my best guess. But the clue is Pink Floyd. That's my way of remembering. Yeah. I'm really thinking... I don't know precisely where, but my thought is basically that I've tried interacting with it in other ways. I think it's going to be a go through a wall problem. The other option would be, I don't know if I ever tried going through the 5 block. I'm saving the hell rooms for later because I don't... So, basically, if I assume... So I'm operating under the assumption that there's a total of 40 rooms in hell. So if I assume that there's a total of 40 rooms in hell, we have... because that's basically the size of combined field. So, for example, Gate of Guidance and Gate of Illusion, or think of it as the whole of Hell, or not, as twin labs. A front side and back side together. It's not necessarily that there's a front side and a back side distinction here, so much as it's about the, just the number of rooms that you expect in a given area set. So, we have 0 through 16, 0 through 15 here, which totals 16 rooms. We also have 2 distinct hells available thus far, because there's the hell that you get into, you fall down in this lobe, and there's the second one that you get in, you fall down in this lobe. Or, well, lobe, candy cane, whatever the heck we're going to call it. So, given that, that puts us at 18 rooms. Additionally, we have different boss-themed rooms. So... we think. We have Amphisbaena, Sackett, Amphisbaena, Sackett, Elmac, Bahamut, Brain, Vi, and then this is, Planky. So, that leaves us with, what, 3 bosses? 2? Hold on. I'm trying to think through the main bosses. Because we still need... That covers through Chamber of Extinction, which means that you still have Baphomet and Tiamat. Which, strictly speaking, you could get in 2 more rooms, but that doesn't quite make sense. Not with the pacing of this. So I'm going to figure that there's 40 rooms total, which means that we have 18 of them identified. Also noting that as I go through, I get different hells. I don't have enough hells to make a conjecture about how... I don't have an... I need at least one more to be able to figure out a pattern that that would then be something I could distill down into notation. Additionally, I can't start noting anything under here. I'm running the assumption right now that these are going to be open and just stay open, which is just me making an assumption. But I can't account for the behavior of everything down here, which means that I can't necessarily go, oh, this seems like a sensible place to plop a hell. So, because I can't make a reasonable conjecture on that yet, I can't put together a sane paradigm. The other thing that I have to do is figure out concretely which rooms lead to which hells, which seems to come in clusters as you progress. But I need to figure out where the boundaries of those clusters are. If I figure out the boundaries of the clusters, that'll give me a better estimate, actually, for the number of hells. Right now, I'm loosely running the assumption of 4 hells. Basically, so... let me grab a sheet. So right now, we have rooms 0 through 15, which accounts for 16 rooms. So I can't go, this seems like a sensible place to pop a hell. Look. Okay, yes, I guess that's a quotable moment. So, basically I thought for 2 more seconds and decided to move the estimates onto another sheet. So then we also have 2 hells, which gives us 2 more rooms. So we have 18 rooms accounted for. So if I'm assuming that for every, so if we assume around 8 rooms per hell, excuse me. So it's 0 through 15, which is 16 because of how it's indexing. So then, if we assume, so 2 hells, 16 rooms. If we assume that it's approximately, no, it's why I referred to it as how it's indexing. It's indexing at 0, as opposed to fucking bastard programs like MATLAB that index starting at 1. That's a really fun one, is dealing with when you have an engineering population that's used to indexing at 1 because of things like MATLAB, but then move to other environments where you index at 0, and vice versa. It's just fun watching the hiccups that propagate according to that, and the differences in the algorithmic notation that crops up.
Have off by 1 errors.
MATLAB indexes at 1, yes. Yeah, position 1 in an array in MATLAB indexes as 1, not 0. At least as of the last time I worked with it. To be fair, I think a new edition has come out since I last worked with it. As we have Dinsdale going, why? Because engineers. To be fair, I would argue that programming in MATLAB is not strictly a language either, but yeah. Here's the thing. If I recall correctly, MATLAB is C-based.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Yeah. So they went out of their way to change the indexing.
Yeah. They intentionally created off-by-one errors for the sake of appealing to people who are not developers.
So yeah, fun stuff. Fortran, COBOL, BASIC, all index in one. That's all the important languages, right? Damn it, Dig Dug. So if we... Anywho, circling way back around, if we assume 8 rooms approximately per hell, this is just the limited conjecture that... Yeah, this is just a limited conjecture that I'm making here. Basically, I'm just doing the mathematician's spitball. So then, here we have, 8 rooms, approximately 8 rooms per hell. That means that if we assume around 32 rooms, we get around 4 hells, which then gives us, it gives us 4 unaccounted for. Which, to be fair, I would have to look at where the boundaries are for the hells, because I'm trying to think. Because depending upon how you count it, basically, I can't guarantee, yet until I find the 3rd hell, I can't make a better estimate. Unless I want to go back to figuring out where the boundary is on the 1st hell, and project out that far, but I just don't want to do that, and I don't feel like going and falling into pits and finding the boundary right now. Sage apparently has a recipe to show me at some point. Looks pretty tasty, but depends on if you're feeling it. And yeah, to be fair, math generally indexes to... or math proofs involving arrays are 1 indexed. So part of it comes down to what environment you're in, at least based on my understanding. So in an environment where where you're operating fundamentally off of binary, effectively, indexing at 0 winds up making sense in terms of space efficiency. To some extent, at least. In terms of how you encode it. I'm not wording very effectively, but I do know what I'm trying to say. Yep, index is 0, use 2's complement. So, in that sense, it makes sense in a computer science environment and in a programming environment to be indexing to 0. With respect to everything else, though, generally, you wind up with indexing starting at 1, though, because it treats it as it's the first entry. If you think of it in terms of counting with respect to natural numbers, 1. That's the first position there. That's 1. And Meg is asking, the real question is, do these hells hold any kind of importance to really make them noteworthy? I'm assuming that yes, because everything in this goddamn game matters. I'm assuming that they matter. I just want to come up with a sensible way to note them on a map. But so, basically my loose conjecture right now means that, if I can count, we have somewhere around 36 rooms accounted for, which leaves 4 unaccounted for, which, to be fair, there's a fair amount of wiggle room. Yeah, generally math works nicely with 1 indexing. So, if we... Honestly, I would figure that the 8 rooms per hell estimate might be a little bit low, if anything, but I'm not certain. Because the other thing is, notably, if it's actually... If it's actually about 9 rooms per hell, then we would get about 36 rooms and about 4 hells, which would come to 40. Which is basically the number that I'm looking for, to some extent. Mathematician, math magician. Nah. So, that's what I'm looking at on this. I think I do need to wrap up for now. I can tell that my thoughts are fragmenting some. And we've been live for a little over 3 hours, and it is really getting uncomfortably warm in here. So as much as I would love to do TOG right now, I don't think I can, for sake of food, needing to handle existence. So the core assumption that this is based off of is, so circling back around Magus, so if you consider an individual area, for example, Gate of Guidance, you get 20 rooms in this game. And that's reinforced by the manual. Every area has 20 rooms. The exception being Twin Labs, but Twin Labs is a little weird because its front side and its back side are part of the same whole. So if we have brain word things stuff, if we have
stuff,
basically we have what's the bloody word?
Modulus.
No. It's... Surface is also an exception. Oh god, why can I not think of... Think of it in, like, the legal sense. A term dealing with, like a framework that exists as a prior... I can't think of the word. This is gonna frustrate me now. Precedent. Precedent. There is a precedent for having a whole area be conjoined, in the form of Twin Labs. So, if you start looking at, with the Twin Labs idea, then it means that an area can have all 40 rooms together, basically, or rather connected. So, looking at that, and also considering the fact that thus far we have run into... There's a boss system of rooms happening. So, room 5 is Amphisbaena. Room 7 is Sackett. Room 10 is Elmac. 11 is Bahamut. Then 14 is Vi. 15 is Planky. So then, looking at this, there's still 2 bosses left. Baphomet and Tiamat. So, if this was indexing at 0 and proceeding, because we have 2 hells thus far, which knocks 2 away from it, we would have 0 through 17, in which we have to have 2 boss-themed rooms. And it just doesn't feel like it's... The structure of it... This is a little bit of intuition on my part. The structure of it doesn't feel complete if it ends that soon. It just doesn't. So, if we start looking at this and looking at the trajectory on it, then if we start assuming instead that there's 40 rooms, then that allows for more, basically, just the game screwing with you. But also that would feel more appropriate for a true, like, challenge area size. Additionally, it starts working out pretty, like, if it was a 20-room system, I'd expect to have either... to justify the different hells, I would have expected to run into 3 by now, as part of it. But that would still also run into problems with respect to having enough rooms for the boss-themed rooms. Whenever I start playing with this, the logical conclusion that's being suggested by a whole array of factors, so looking at it heuristically, is that we're dealing with a 40-room system. At which point we also then get additional hells, which justifies the existence of multiple different hell rooms by having that be just part of the hell mechanic. Word things, stuff. Brain. Yeah, brain is going offline. I would not be surprised if 20 rooms in, effectively, including hells, or, well, maybe including hells, maybe not. I would not be surprised if there were a, just brain. I would not be surprised if there was a, couple rooms variation in it. They might wait until, like, room 19 or so, if they continue the numbering system. If they continue the numbering system, I would not be surprised if somewhere around, let's see, any mini-boss that crops up would have to be after the end of the boss-themed rooms, which, if we allow for 2 rooms, means, let's see, 16 and 17. So the earliest I would expect to see a mini-boss would be indexed room 18. Yeah. Right? Yeah, indexed room 18. To allow for the 2 boss-themed rooms. And then you still have to wrap it up. No. I'm making a loose assumption right now, a loose conjecture. I've not played Antechamber. I am making the conjecture that we are looking at a system that has approximately 4 hells, and that will have a minimum, probably, of about 32 non-hell rooms. I just can't isolate this further until I have more information, and in particular until I hit the 3rd hell. I'm being told I would probably like Antechamber. Writing it down. I will take a look. But yeah, so that's where I'm at on this. That's the sort of conjecture set that I'm making. I am almost certainly not going to be able to... Looking at timeline stuff, unless I get some mapping time during the day tomorrow, I'm probably not going to get TOG done for the middle of this week. Even though I have it all set and, you know, ready to fill in. The spiral towers are part of what make that a pain. So, there's an outside chance that I do... I don't know. If I'm feeling a stream tomorrow, I might do one essentially unannounced, or very minimally signaled. But it also depends on my getting to the store. So there's a slight chance of that, but otherwise, looking at Wednesday, tackling Hell Temple again, probably having some story time in between, and I've got some stories lined up, because there's been some stuff going on with people that we know that has me thinking of a bunch of stories, including the time I had pneumonia during finals week. That's a fun one. There's a few other gems in there. There's some fun stuff that sources from, like, chemistry classes and stuff. There's just a bunch of good stuff, really.
I need a horse floated through the sky.
But we've got some stories lined up and stuff for that. Let me take a look at who is live. I'm trying to think of what else is important to cover. But yeah, so apparently people have experience with it from GDQ, but that doesn't tell you much. I'm debating. So I've got 2 folks come to mind that I can for a host over to. We've got Esley, who's doing Jurassic World Evolution stuff, and she's apparently been having fun with that. And but if you're feeling more like Dark Soulsian in terms of feel, it's not Dark Souls, but our friend Mogan Kai is doing a 24-hour stream of The Surge, which I was watching some of earlier, and it has a definite Dark Soulsian feel. So, are we thinking more like... Nope, better. Someone else just went live that I think I'll actually send y'all over to instead.
My butt. My butt just went live.
Dang. Okay.
Well, everyone, I hope you enjoy watching my butt.
He's got a few minutes before he starts. But anywho, so there's some stories and stuff set up for Wednesday, because what I'm thinking to try and keep me in a better state on things, because those of you who tuned in last time know that I ended up like
Tilt.
Yeah. So to help, which I know is part of the reason why folks, watch someone going through Hell Temple, but it's a really bad feel for me. Well and truly.
Tilt!
So, instead what I'm going to be doing is...
Tilting?
No.
Tilt!
Instead what I'm going to be doing is probably doing about an hour to an hour and a half of Hell Temple, then taking a storytelling break. We kind of did that a couple weeks ago, and it worked out really beautifully for me. Just having a break in things, just to take a step back, especially since, when I was doing the blind for the rest of la-mulana, there were times where if I ran into...
You're into tilt!
Dang it, Denzel!
Are you tilting?
So... Thank you.
Sounds to me like she's tilting.
So, what I'm looking at with this, though, is that tilt's not a good feel for me. And it makes it very hard for me to decompress from stream, which also means that I wind up talking his ear off and late into the night, and that's just gets us into all sorts of just bad territory, breaks sleep schedules, and fun stuff like that.
It makes me tilt. No one likes that.
So... Dang it. You guys are working together to freaking tilt me. This is why we can't have nice things. This is why we can't have nice things.
What, because you tilt?
So...
And start calling you Kitty Quixote because you're tilting at windmills.
Yeah, I'll be hitting you up, Naki. So... But in terms of a, approach to la-mulana, one of the things that is helping me is basically cycling between beating my head against something or trying to figure out something, and then going off and looking for something else to do, and rotating between things. So it meant that, and sometimes it was, my greatest breakthroughs would happen when I was thinking about something else, or, well, asleep and following a stream, at which point I go, God damn it, because I have to wait another week to implement. But... Hell Temple doesn't let me do that. It doesn't let me disengage. It doesn't let me back off, try something else, and approach just a different thing. And that's it makes it very taxing for me. So rather than wind up in just all kinds of meh with that, I want to fold in... Oh my god.
Tilting? Am I folding tilting?
This is why I can't have nice things. So, looking at this though, I think having some of the storytelling going on in between, using that as an interlude, which means that I need to actually take the time to set it up so I'm probably going to set up something that is configured in terms of screen real estate wise, more like this in terms of how big the game window is. So the game window is very much secondary thing, and have it be mostly a camera view, and we just have a couple stories, chill, and then re-engage. Dang it. Part of the reason I'm continuing to talk is because the guy that I would like to throw the host to, he's in his starting countdown. Especially since it got mentioned earlier today. I'm thinking the Final Fantasy X. There's someone who's playing Final Fantasy X on stream blind. So, having some fun with that. I've thrown the host to him before, but Gracker221, freaking optometrist by day.
Superhero by night.
Yep, Gracker. So, tell you what, we're gonna start throwing you guys over there. He's a good dude, you know. Optometrist by day, streamer by night.
Superhero.
Make sure to tell his wife congratulations. They've got a I think a baby girl on the way.
That was nephew. No, that's a different person.
No. You're thinking Tapstream.
Yep.
So we're gonna throw the host on over to Gracker. He's got about 5 minutes before he starts, which gives you the perfect amount of time to go grab something to eat really quick, take a bathroom break, and then come back and... Yeah, oh god. Dinsdale, gotta come up with a Sailor Moon theme song parody for him now. So, we're gonna throw that host on over to Gracker. He's got about 4.5 minutes. Thank you guys so much. I had a blast today. See you Wednesday for la-mulana in the evening, maybe Friday afternoon for Dead Cells, or whenever. I hope you have a great week, or if I don't get to see you before then, weekend as well. And just keep being freaking awesome. That's the long and short of it. Take care.